We're starting to get into the hottest days of the year here in Waukesha County, and one of my favorite ways to fish this time is with this guy right here. It's just a basic Cinco, and I'll tell you about how I like to fish it and why I like to fish it right now on 262 Fishing. So stick around because it's a beautiful day in Waukesha County, and we're talking Cincos. As a quick reminder, we're still looking to get to 250 subscribers for the random golf ball giveaway. Again, random, I know, but that's what we're doing. So do me a huge favor, guys. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and push that button right now to subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, do me an even bigger favor. Share this video with all of your friends. Let them get the word out, and let's get to that 250 mark. Normally, I'm a power fisherman. I like fishing crankbaits and spinner baits and chatterbaits and things that you can just launch way out there and reel in. But in the hot days of summer, I actually really love fishing a finesse bait, and I prefer the Cinco. Now, here's why. There's so many things you can do with it. You can skip it under docks or flip it into trees. If you want, you can cast it out deep. And although I'm not a big slow and finesse fisherman, you can bring it in slowly too. You can bounce it off the bottom. You can swim it in the middle of the water column. There's a lot of options you can do. So if you've decided to fish with the Cinco, how should you go about rigging it up? Well, there's a couple ways, and the first is the most obvious, and that's just to have it straight on the hook like this with a Texas rig with no weight at all. Now, anytime I'm using a worm hook like this where it's got the little offset here, I prefer a 4/0 or a 3/0, but I'm going to be tying this on with the snell knot. And here's why. The nice thing about weightless is it'll fall nice and slow and kind of hover on down, but you throw a weight on here, and now with the snell knot, when you get a bite and you set the hook, that weight is going to force the hook up into the roof of the mouth. So that's the benefit of the snell knot. But should you peg your weight, or should you just let it fly and fall all nimbly bimbly? Well, I'll tell you the times that I prefer to peg it and the times I prefer to just leave it loose. Okay, so first let's talk about pegging and what it is. Pegging is basically just taking some sort of stop, like a bobber stop, and just tying it right here so it's pegged to the hook. I just use a cheap little, yarn style bobber stop. I'm not worried about the color really, because when the bait is falling, I'm looking for that reaction bite. I'm not looking for the fish to necessarily be eating. I'm looking for them to react and grab it. So I'm not as worried about the color of the stop. However, it is still important to make sure at least the bait itself is somewhat natural, since that's the big thing the fish are going to be looking at. So when do I fish with my weight pegged? And this is a 3/16 weight, by the way. This is about as heavy as I like to go. I usually prefer a 1/16 weight to get a slower fall down through the water column. But I like to peg the weight when I'm fishing with a lot of weeds. That's going to allow everything to swim through, and you're not going to get weeds stuck in between here. If you're fishing with an unpegged system, the weight's going to fall, the worm's going to fall, there's going to be some separation here, and now when you pull the line, there's a chance weeds can get stuck in between here. It's simple to clear out. You just sort of jerk it and the weight comes out and the worm goes flying and the weeds go clear, but it's a hassle that sometimes you have to deal with. So if I'm fishing heavy weeded areas, I will peg the weight. Now when the weight is pegged, the worm's going to fall with the nose down position. It's going to get, if you jerk the line, it's going to go up and it's going to kind of give one of these motions. And this is a pretty common way that people like to fish the bottom. It's what the Ned rig is based off of. It's what a lot of other baits are based off of. Now, if you have an unpegged weight, what's going to happen is your line is going to be slack and you'll have some gap here. And when you jerk it, the weight's going to go up first. the bait's gonna follow it, and then when you get slack again, the weight's gonna come off. The weight will sink down faster to the bottom, and your worm's gonna kind of hover. It might kind of float even like this. It's gonna give it a different action is basically what I'm trying to get to. And what I like about this one, especially for fishing in post-spawn like we're getting into now, is it almost looks like your bait is chasing after something. And when you have fry garters and you're trying to get a reaction bait, that little nuance of your bait chasing after a weight might be enough to get you that reaction bite. Alright, so what do I prefer? Like I said, each option has its benefits and its setbacks, but what I actually end up preferring is not having it pegged. And I know I get a lot of grief from some of my friends sometimes. They tell me, hey man, you gotta peg your weight. But I like the reaction I get with the worm and almost the effect of chasing after something. I like going with an unpegged weight. And I like that even though I'm a power fisherman, I love skipping docks, I love pitching into cover. So even though I'm not a big finesse guy, you can still find ways to satisfy a power guy with this setup. But the most important thing is to find out what works for you, because what works for me in southeastern Wisconsin might not work for you in California or Texas or New York. The important thing is to find out, number one, what the fish in your area want, and number two, what you're confident in fishing, because you could have the best lure in the world, but if you're not confident with it, it's probably not going to catch fish. But now I want to ask help from you guys, and let me know down in the comments, number one, what is your favorite way to fish a Cinco? And this will work with creature baits too. But number two, let me know what your favorite summer bait is and your favorite style. I love pitching docks, I love skipping baits under docks, but that's not for everybody. So let me know what you enjoy down in the comments section. And while we're interacting, make sure you push the red button down below to subscribe and push the bell next to it to get notifications when I put my videos out. Don't forget, I'm still on my journey to catch a fish in 100 lakes in Waukesha County, so make sure you're subscribed to follow that journey. And as always, folks, remember, it doesn't matter if you go around the world or go around the corner, just as long as you go fishing. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the water.